everybody. Thank you so much for coming back and seeing me and Desi this week. I hope you had a good week. I had such a cold week. It was like 8-10 degrees below zero here. Desi and I have cabin fever, something terrible. I mean, you can't really get out when it's that cold. I didn't dare walk, Desi, when it was that cold.
Oh, you're on your electric blanket? Yeah, does that feel good? You got your panda? What are you doing with your panda? You taking a nap? Huh? Yeah.
I'm going to answer 10 very intimate questions. It's the Who's Your Daddy tag. And these are questions that you would never ask anybody. They're so personal. And they say when you start the tag, you're all happy. And then by the end, you're crying and you know yourself so much better. So do you think that's true? I don't know. You want to give it a go? All right, let's do this. The movies. Let's talk about celebrities. What is the number one sexiest celebrity that you've ever seen in your life? You know what? I have fallen in love with so many men in the movies. And not because I fell in love with the actor, but I just fell in love with the character they were playing. So like Jude Law in Cold Mountain, I was just madly in love with him. Ian McGregor in Moulin Rouge, I was head over heels in love with him. I saw the movie 5,000 times, but it wasn't Ian McGregor. It was the character he was playing. The only actor I can think of that I felt like I love him. It's not a character. I just love him. I feel like, I could have loved him. I could have had a good life with him. I have everything in common with him. He is beautiful inside and out, and that would be Robert Redford. And the funny thing about me loving Robert Redford is when he was younger, he did nothing for me. I saw him in The Way We Were, and it was like, meh. But when I saw him in Up Close and Personal with Michelle Pfeiffer in the 90s, I thought I was going to die. What is my biggest pet peeve? And I guess what? A pet peeve is something that irritates you but is not consequential. It's not a big deal. It's just a little thing that irritates you. Okay, well, probably in the grocery store getting behind somebody that has 200 coupons. That's a pet peeve. On a bigger scale, I would say really judgmental people get on my nerves. People who somehow don't seem to have any empathy, or they don't seem to understand that we're not all alike, and sometimes we can do things that others can't. So yeah, that's sort of a bigger pet peeve I have on a bigger scale. Lauren Hutton was a famous model, and she has always been my style icon, and not just for her fashion. You know how she would wear the trousers, lots of different blazers, silk blouses, and her hair. I've always tried to emulate her hair. I just loved it. She would have it short or a little bit longer, but always natural waves, and I just loved it. But what made Laura Hutton truly a fashion style icon to me was her attitude. That attitude of how to be attractive and kind of sexy, but do it with not a low-cut blouse. Do it with your attitude. You know, that kind of gravitas that comes when you're smart and you're confident and you know who you are and you feel comfortable in your clothes. That's all the things that she symbolized to me. And those were the type of things that I always tried to emulate. Every time I see a blazer, I think of her. Every time I put on a little jacket, yeah, I think of her and her hair. And now she's in her 80s. She's never had anything done to her face, and that's very inspirational to me. And she flashes that smile and that look like, I know something you don't. And I love it. I just love it. And I love her.
I have a milestone birthday coming up. I bought myself the prettiest little heart diamond necklace. It was under $30 on Amazon. But to me, it's worth $1 million.
Oh gosh, I've read a lot of horrible things about myself. It doesn't seem to penetrate, so that's really good. I hate it when I read things about my family. People used to go after my mom years ago and call her names because she had a baby out of wedlock, and that hurt me. But me personally, I think when I was reading things, people were saying I was visiting my dying ex-husband in the hospital to get his money, or his family was going to shower me with money if I went to visit him. I found that to be, just horrible. Just crazy, horrible, incorrect, and you don't know me very well as a person if you think I would let somebody I love die alone in a hospital, unless I was going to inherit a car or some money. So no, that wasn't the case. It wasn't true. And it was pretty hurtful to read that. Yeah.
Look at that chair. That chair has seen a lot of life. I love it. It's got a real attitude.
My body. Have I ever had issues with my body image in my lifetime? And I would say on and off, I have had, problems with how my body looks in the mirror and the confidence that I've had in showing people my body in a bathing suit, or, even like modeling clothes for you, being with a husband and wearing little lingerie. Yes, from time to time, I have been remorseful and always thinking, I need to lose weight, or I wish I was taller, or I wish I had, I don't know, bigger this, smaller that, you name it. Body image, always. I grew up in a time where you couldn't be too thin. I mean, it was the 70s. It was Twiggy. It was Woodstock. You had to be thin. And to this day, people are so judgmental about women who are 10 or 20 pounds overweight. Look at Hollywood. Those women look terrible. They're terribly thin and they look so unhealthy. So body image is very, very important. When I first married Bill, and I would kind of prance around, how you do when you're with your lover or your husband, and I didn't feel insecure at all. I felt beautiful. I was in the buff and I felt beautiful because I saw myself through his eyes and he saw me with loving eyes. And I think so much of our body image is tied to how we feel about ourselves, and that is projected when we see somebody looking at us. If we're thinking, I wonder what they're thinking, that's going to throw us off the mark. But what decade did you feel the sexiest? Definitely in my 30s. I came into my own in my 30s. It was like, before I turned 32, I was just watching. But once I hit my 30s, I was like, oh yeah, I'll take ice cream with that cake. Oh yeah. So yeah, my 30s. Describe myself as a kid. I was a good kid. I was a dreamer. I would spend hours and hours with my friend Ellen, and we would sit on my front steps on Beechwood, and we had these great big diaries, and we would write novels and stories, and we dreamed how we would be famous authors and writers in the world. And so I was a dreamer as a child. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times, my childhood. Absolutely. Did my parents lie to me? Did my mother lie to me? One thing I can truly say about my mother, she had a lot of faults, just like me, just like everybody, but she was not a liar. I remember one lie she told me that was the hugest, biggest, whopping, ridiculous lie that you could ever imagine. And she told me that lie when I was 10 years old. And the lie was that she was trying to explain to me that who I thought my father was, my stepfather, that really wasn't my real dad. That my real dad was a man she met that she fell madly in love with, and she thought they had gotten married. And yet there was a snafu with the paperwork and they weren't really married, but she got pregnant thinking that she was married. Anyway, this story went on and on and on and on. And I was 10 years old and I was thinking, okay, all right, Mom. My mom was an honest woman and I can see easily why she lied to me about that. She didn't want me to think that it was okay to have premarital sex. So she made up this huge lie about my birth father. And later on, of course, in my 20s, my mother told me the truth. And I made a whole video about how she met my father and how she fell madly in love with him. And anyway, it was a beautiful, beautiful story. And I would end up knowing who my real father was. But yeah, that's a big lie my mom told me, but it was for a big reason. She was trying to protect me, and I appreciate that. When you put out a video, you hope people will enjoy it. And when you know you've put out a video and it's hurt people or people have misunderstood, it's a terrible low point, and it really does hurt. And also 2 years ago, there was a creator that I felt was plagiarizing me. She was taking the things that I would film, like I don't own a stream, I don't own a swing, I don't own telephone towers. But what she was doing is she was taking the subjects that I was filming in B-roll and she would film them too and then put them in the same order I did. Well, after a while, that was hurting me so deeply and it was robbing my joy of filming and it was robbing my joy of bringing you videos every week. I thought, this is so unfair. It really, really hurt. And I'm not exactly sure why it went so deep, but it went deep. And then one day I realized, wait a minute. No matter how much this woman copies the way I film or what I film or the sequence in which I put it, she's not me. And she can only upset me if I go watch her videos. Because if I don't watch her videos, I don't know that she's lifting the things that I've worked so hard to learn how to film. And I realized I was allowing her to rob my joy. I was allowing her to make me feel bad. So I stopped watching her. And then she gave me the greatest gift because that experience taught me that nobody can truly rob you of your joy and your happiness and your confidence unless you let them. So it turned out to be my low point on YouTube was the greatest gift. Yeah, pretty cool. when you get older, there's this calm that comes over you. It's as if, hey, I'm 70 years old. I've lived a very long life. I've seen a whole lot of things. And yeah, my car blew up today, but yeah, I'm okay. Because when you get older, the things that you prioritize are so precious that it's all the little crap that you would always get upset about, that just falls away. So it's beautiful. So for me, that's the best thing about getting older, is a sense of peace. That things are going to be okay because they always have been. The worst thing about being a mature older woman for me is what I call the goodbye days. They come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I'll just be seeing the most beautiful night sky and the stars, and I'll think to myself, I'm going to miss this. And then I think about my son, and I think, is he going to be okay without me? Are my grandkids going to be okay without me? So there's this fatalistic intrusion of thought every once in a while, not very often, but every once in a while. Those goodbye days, they come. They come and they go, thank goodness. But I think it's so important that we look at things in the moment, and that we don't think of it as saying goodbye. Like, I'm never going to know the end of that story. I'm never going to see my grandkids get married. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. I have to say goodbye. But no, do you have to say goodbye today? Do you have to say goodbye tomorrow? No. So why think about it? Why bother yourself with that? But of everything I can think of, that's the only negative thing that comes to mind right now about being an older woman. Those goodbye days.
Well, when I look at the bottom, it says Robinson Ransbottom, Roseville, Ohio. A 2-quart pitcher.
It's gorgeous. How much?
$19.
What are you reading? The Evolution of Awareness? Really? How's that going for you? Okay, you look pretty happy. What's this other thing you're reading? Growing Younger. Breakthrough Age-Defying Secrets for Women. You're not a girl. You're a dude. What are you reading that? Oh, it's for me? Well, thank you. Thank you for being so considerate.
So many times every single week I get letters, emails from some of you saying that you gave up a long time ago, or that you don't want to give up, but that you're tired. What do I do that prevents me from giving up? Yeah, I owe a debt. I owe a debt to God that gave me this life. I owe a debt to my family. I owe a debt to you. I owe a debt to my community. I owe. I have to make the very most of my life, no matter what, to pay back this debt of this wonderful life that I've had. Not every moment of my life has been wonderful, but I'm grateful. And I continue to be grateful, but I can't give up. When I was growing up, I had a family member that was extremely abusive to me, and he would say to me, you're never gonna make it in life. You're never gonna amount to anything. And every single time in my life where I felt like giving up, I thought about him. I thought about those words. And I thought to myself, he's not gonna win. He'll never win. I'm going to prove him wrong. The best kind of revenge is success. But revenge is no good for motivation. But I had a fight in me a fight that if I gave up, everything negative that happened in my life, or every negative person that crossed my path, they would win if I gave up. So I can't give up, and neither can you. It's in us. It's in us to try to lead the best life we can. Life isn't short. Life is long. Why haven't you given up? Why haven't I given up? Giving up is a type of death of the spirit, and we will not allow that to happen. We're strong, and we're weak, and we're smart, and we have so much to learn. So much just rolls into one woman's life, one man's life, and we have so much to give. We don't sit around thinking, what can I get if I hang on? You think about, what can I give to other people? What's going to happen to the people around me if I give up? I can't do that. I'll never give up. No matter how rich I am or how poor, how well I am or how sick. I can't give up. And neither can you. The world needs us. The world needs every single person watching this video right now. And we can't let the world down. We can't let our family down. We can't let God down. And most of all, we can't let ourselves down. We owe it to ourselves to lead the best life we absolutely can. And no matter what, no matter how hard, we prevail. We always have. And we always will until our very last breath. So in the end, who's my daddy? What's my North Star? Well, I don't want to make this fancy or complicated, but I guess it's the earth, the wind, and the sky. Knowing at the end of each day, I didn't just phone it in. I did my best, not to be perfect, but to try to make something better than I found it. Each and every day, just to try to make something better. Should we sing the national anthem? Okay, Desi. So we're going to sing. All right. So at the end, we'll sing America, America. All right. And then when we get to the end and I go, America. No, that's a little too loud. You're going to want to bring it down a little bit. Okay. All right. Now do a good job. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I just loved it. And if you get a chance down below, could you answer maybe one of those questions that I talked about today? Let's talk. Please have yourself a wonderful, happy, brand new week. And when you're done with your week, you come back and see me and Desi, okay? All right. It's a deal. We'll be here. And cry good with brotherhood from sea to shining